Welcome to Guys Got Pipes. I'm that guy. I've got some pipes, and I'm glad to be back with you again. I want to thank you all for watching. I have a new backdrop this evening coming to you from the office, and a new background, as you can see, map of the 50 states, the orange dots, if you can see them, signifying where the states I've traveled to in these glorious United States of America. I have 44 in the bank and 6 more to go, mostly in the upper Northwest. I'm smoking a Savinelli Porto Cervo pot, and I really enjoy this pipe. Mutton Chop Piper is a frequent smoker of this model, and it was Mutton Chop who gave me the idea to purchase this excellent smoking pipe. Has a rusticated finish, and inside the pipe tonight I am smoking Peter Stokkebye's Luxury Twist Flake. I've poured myself a glass of Bullet Bourbon with my Star Wars Death Star ice cube, and it keeps things nice and chilled with just a bit of water as that ice cube is frozen solid. In the year 2000, I had the pleasure of traveling to my first Olympics, the first of the 6 I covered for the Associated Press radio network. And on the way to Sydney, well, let me back up. I have a relative who, at the time, worked for Qantas. And do you know what Qantas stands for? It's an acronym of sorts. Queensland and Northern Territory Aerial Service, Qantas. There's no U in Qantas, but I believe their employee magazine was the U in Qantas. And back in the day, it was a fabulous airline. I don't know if it still is, but it was back in 2000. Because I had, let's say, connections with the airline, I was able to travel business class to Sydney from Los Angeles. And so I flew in a Boeing 747, which I believe is one of, if not the best airplane ever made. Traveled in business class, so I was up in the hump of the 747. And that was one nice feature of having a relative who works for Qantas. The other was, I remember succinctly, as I was reclining in my chair on that long flight, I believe it's anywhere from 16 to 18 hours to Sydney from LA, maybe 14, I forget, it's been a while. A flight attendant came to get me. "John," she says, "would you like to come to the cockpit and sit with the crew for a portion of the flight?" Excuse my bad Australian accent. And I said, "That would be fabulous," or something like that. So I walked up to the cockpit door, and the flight attendant opened the cockpit door, maybe after a knock. And of course, this is the days before 9/11, so there was pretty much easy access to the cockpit. And so I entered the cockpit, and I believe it was a crew of 2, maybe 3, but at least 2 gentlemen were in there flying the plane. And one said, "Hello, mate. welcome aboard, have a seat. And I did, in one of those little jumper seats in the cockpit. And I remember as we flew over the Pacific Ocean, I can't recall what time of day it was because, as you travel west to Australia, who knows what day it is. You pass some sort of international date line and you lose track of time. But I'll never forget looking out the windows of the cockpit and just seeing this wonderful combination of colors. Hues of purple, of black, of orange, maybe some magentas or reds, as either the sun was rising or the sun was setting. And it was wonderful as that large, magnificent Boeing bird with 4 Rolls-Royce engines at 38,000 feet or so just seemingly glided across the Pacific, and it was so peaceful. And the crew and I chit-chatted, what was my reason for the flight, where was I going, and I said I was going over to cover the Olympics. And we chatted for maybe 5-10 minutes. But I wanted to share with you that story because I believe it's something that only people with the highest security clearance these days will be able to do as they travel to Australia. And so I feel very fortunate that I had that opportunity. And I guess I'll close by saying that it seemed fitting that when we arrived in Sydney, the media village for the Sydney Games was in a section of town called Lidcombe. And it happened to be that the facility where the media was encamped for the 3 weeks of the Olympics was a converted insane asylum. Seems kind of fitting some almost 19 years later. So that's the story I wanted to share on Guy's Got Pipes tonight. I want to thank you for joining me for the pipe and a glass of Bullet bourbon. I hope when you turn on my episodes that you are enjoying your favorite pipe, your favorite tobacco, and we can do this together. So thank you for joining once again, and until next time, peace, love, and pleasant smokes.